Jerice does have some comments, Your Honor. I do ask the court to take into consideration that she will be moving forward with an appeal, and so her comments are not addressing any underlying facts of this case, obviously, but just in general, her feelings and her family.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Honorable Judge Morales, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before you, as I know that you are a very busy woman. I know I've been made out to be a horrible person and a monster of a mother, human being, and a member of society. I've been made out to be all these things. A terrible member of society, a horrible mother. I've even had to sit there and be called a baby killer today, which I most definitely am not, and I don't own that. But that is not who I am. I made a terrible mistake years ago in California. I've paid for that. I've grown and learned from that experience. I truly have. That is not who I am anymore. That is not the woman who stands before you today, Judge Morales. I think of my children constantly, especially my baby Jhessye. I worry about where she is and whether she's safe and sound and what somebody's doing to her or if she's all right. I worry because I am her mother. I know I've been convicted of a horrible crime as I stand here before you. A crime which I most definitely did not commit. I beseech you, Judge Morales, to bestow a lenient sentence upon me. I feel as though I've been judged, tried, and convicted already by the public through the media. I felt that way before I even had a trial, Judge Morales. And I thank my family for supporting me, through this horrific ordeal. To my children, Javion, Javani, Janine, Javiane, Jhessye, Jhessye, and Jerice, I love you. And I miss you. Life is not the same without you. I desperately long for you just as the deer longs for water. Each breath I take is filled with your air. Please don't ever forget that. You are the air that I breathe. I'm your mom. Nothing will ever change that. And until my last breath, I will fight for my children and for the return of Jhessye, whether I'm behind bars or not. Again, I ask you for a lenient sentence, Judge Morales, if you can find it in your heart, to look at the woman who stands before you today, not as a monster, not as some horrible member of society, a person who abuses her children. I don't abuse my children. I made a bad mistake in California, but I did not make that mistake here. I wasn't abusing my children, Judge Morales. With every ounce of my being, until I restore my family, I will work to get them back home with me where they belong, to restore my entire family. Although some people can stand up before you and say they don't consider me a member of their family anymore, well, I don't feel the same. I still love you, even if you hate me. I didn't do anything to Jhessye. The state can't prove that I did anything to Jhessye. However, I've been convicted of hurting her. And that's a horrible injustice. But I must follow the rules of this state. And if you sentence me to life, I pray that you will give me a chance to get out, to be with my children one day. I ask for a sentence that is not life, Judge Morales, because I don't deserve that. Thank you for hearing me out, Judge.
Okay. All right. I have considered the facts and circumstances of your life as well as the life of how Jhessye lived and how she died. I considered the fact that she was a helpless 5-year-old who really needed your protection. And instead, she died under your care. I understand that you say that you did not kill her, but the jury has decided otherwise. And I have sat through the entire trial, and I have to agree with the jury. There certainly was substantial evidence to show that you did kill her and that you did dump her like just yesterday's trash. And I can't forget that. Although your attorney says that during this one short period of your life, 1 year, you didn't do anything and you have learned from your lesson, testimony shows otherwise. I remember a portion of the testimony from your neighbor who said that Jernine went to her and then you went to her and tried to blame things on Jernine. And I remember the testimony from Ms. Vance about the picnic in which she said she showed that there was some type of injury on Jhessye. So that rings hollow to me. I've also considered the fact that you have done this before. Not that you should be judged forever for what you've done before, because you did pay your debt to society for those. But I also have to consider the fact that you are a repeat offender on the same type of charge. And I have to consider protecting any future children. I've also considered your life circumstances, and I don't doubt Ms. Shoemaker when she says that you had a horrible beginning of your life and that you maybe learned your parenting from somebody else and that you did not have an easy life, that you yourself was probably abused as a child. And I have also noted that you do have the support of at least a portion of your family. Considering all of that, I do believe a natural life sentence is appropriate in this case. And so as to count 2, it is the judgment and sentence of the court that you be sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the rest of your natural life. As to count 1, I have considered the following aggravating circumstances. And those are the aggravating circumstances that the jury found. And those are: you committed the offense in an especially heinous, cruel, or depraved manner. That the offense was a domestic violence offense committed in the presence of children. That you were an adult at the time of the crime and the victim was a child under the age of 12. And that you perpetrated a fraud on the community by reporting the victim as a missing child. I note especially that they spent hours and hours, days, weeks, months looking for Jhessye. So it also rings hollow to me that nobody was out there looking for her. There were people looking for her. They spent a lot of time looking for her. And as for the mitigating circumstances, I note again that you do have the support of at least a part of your family, the fact that you did not have an easy upbringing, and that you were most likely abused as a child yourself. Balancing the aggravating circumstances against the mitigating circumstances, I do find that the aggravating circumstances are sufficiently substantial to warrant a greater than presumptive sentence as allowed under the law. And it is a judgment of the court that you be sentenced to the greater than presumptive sentence of 20 years and giving you credit for the 1,044 days of pre-sentence incarceration that you have already served. This sentence is a flat time sentence as required under the law, and it is consecutive to count 2 as required under the law. And I should say, I have also considered the fact that I've already imposed a natural life sentence upon you in deciding not to give you the absolute maximum as recommended by the state. It's further ordered that you shall serve a term of community supervision equal to 1 day for every 7 days of the sentence. And if you violate the terms of the community supervision, you can be required to spend the rest of that time in prison as well. It's further ordered that you shall submit to DNA testing for law enforcement identification purposes, and it's further ordered retaining jurisdiction over the restitution issue in case anybody wants to request restitution from the victim's side. If there is restitution requested, do you want to be brought back to Maricopa County, or do you just want Ms. Shoemaker to handle it for you?
I'd like Ms. Shoemaker to represent me.
She'll waive her presence, Your Honor.
Waive your presence. We will note that you waive your presence for any restitution hearing set. It's order imposing a probation assessment fee of $20 and a family offense assessment fee of $50 and a domestic violence shelter fund fee of $50. You have the right to appeal from the orders of this court and to have a lawyer represent you. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. If you cannot afford the necessary records and transcripts of these proceedings, they will also be provided to you at no cost. If you want to file a notice of appeal, you must do so within 20 days from today. Otherwise, you will waive those rights. You will need to sign for a copy of these review rights and provide the court with a fingerprint. You are remanded to the custody of the Department of Corrections effective today to begin your sentence. Anything else?
Two issues, Judge. Just for the record, no legal cause to the court imposing sentence today. And I had 152 days. If the clerk could calculate the days just for the minute entry.
Certainly. Let me just make sure that we have the same dates.
1,052.
Okay, so I have from September 6, 2012 to today, which is July 17, 2015. Okay. And also just to verify with you, she had an additional 8 days from the first time that she was arrested. So that was from November 21st, 2011 to November 28th, 2011. Is that what you're using?
Yes.
Okay, perhaps your difference and my difference is because I didn't add the eight days. Let me just look. 1,052 days. I think that's what it is. We will verify that. If that is in fact the case, then I will be giving you credit for the 1,052 days that you have already served. Anything else?
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Anything from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Not that.